Now it is. Yeah.
Okay, so we're both recording.
Looks like it. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's see how it goes, and then after if you could upload it and share it with me.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. You ready? Should we get a drink? Some
Yeah.
Scottish whiskey, Scottish.
A dram. A wee dram, we say. Yeah.
Oh, we do.
A wee dram. That's a whiskey. A glass of whiskey.
Okay. So you ready? Okay, we're gonna start.
Okay.
Oliver, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. It's really an honor and a privilege. You have worked in the intellectual property industry in the UK and in Scotland for 11 years. How is the current COVID-19 situation affecting the industry in general, and which are the major changes you've seen in the last few months?
Good afternoon, Yitz. So I've seen a lot of changes recently, particularly in the innovation and also in terms of the brand side of things as well. But if we want to look at the innovation first, then in terms of what the offices are doing, they're extending the deadlines to deal with this pandemic, because in the UK, a lot of the patent work is dependent on deadlines. So they've extended that because of this pandemic. And I've seen a lot of innovations in terms of around health and in sciences, as you'd expect. And I think that's just only going to continue. In terms of developments for a vaccine, in terms of that, then I think it would be interesting to see what happens in terms of the voluntary patent pool that's being discussed at the moment as we speak, whether that will transpire or not with US and UK companies trying to develop a vaccine for coronavirus. Because obviously the whole idea behind the patent is to seek a monopoly, and so that drug companies can charge a fee or even a premium for a particular drug. So it'll be interesting to see whether that, obviously, it's a great public interest to get a vaccine, and a lot of companies are pulling together resources in order to do that. But also we want to make sure that that vaccine is available to the whole world, including developing countries where it might be price prohibitive if it is patented.
What sort of innovation typically comes out of Scotland?
So Scotland is well known for being particularly innovative in sort of the engineering sectors, biotechnology, life sciences. Here in Edinburgh, we have the Roslin Institute, where Dolly the sheep was famously created. So we have a lot of history in terms of the life sciences and I suppose biotechnology as well.
I know a big thing came out of Scotland was Braveheart, from what I remember.
Yeah.
How is
No,
the current yeah? So how is the current situation affecting your line of work in particular, in terms of protecting new brands?
So in terms of brands, I've seen a rise in the amount of counterfeit products being sold online. So our retail clients use us for anti-counterfeiting measures. So taking down infringing product listings, whether it's the product or the packaging, on various online marketplaces like Amazon, like eBay, and other platforms online. So unfortunately, there's been a rise in that because of certain products being in demand through this crisis.
What sort of innovation companies and technologies typically protect their brand in Scotland?
So the main ones are, I suppose, well, all companies protect their brands, but for online, particularly important is the sort of fashion industry, retail, whiskey brands selling product online as well. So I think it crosses all sectors in terms of brand protection, but particularly those sectors where they're selling products online. It's imperative that they have proper brand protection in place, both from a protection point of view, in order to ensure that you have that ability to take down infringements and counterfeits online, but also from a commercial perspective in terms of being able to enter into licenses with commercial partners as well.
Dealing on occasion with patent prosecution, have you seen that there's a decrease in filing locally in Scotland from the outside countries?
I've not seen a decrease. There is an IP court in Scotland, and although at the moment there's obviously fewer cases going through the court system right now, I'm sure that will pick up when the commercial court gets going again. But in terms of disputes being that there have been a number over the years that have an international perspective. From my recollection, there was one involving a perfume company. So there have been over the years disputes settled in Scottish courts.
Right. So
session. Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about more on the IP litigation side, the ITC, from what I understand. Have you seen any, like during national phase, there are certain companies, certain industries that want to protect their technologies, and sometimes it's quite expensive if they do it in all different countries. What technologies typically do you find protecting their brand in Scotland?
So in terms of brands, it tends to be those that have offices here.
But one second, sorry. When we said we're talking about brands, maybe I'm saying the wrong word.
Okay.
I mean, what companies are protecting their intellectual property? For example, is pharma companies,
okay.
Filing there, pharma, biotech.
Yeah. So a lot of drug companies and pharmatech and life sciences will have patents, and the patent is a UK-wide patent, so it covers not just Scotland, but England, Wales, Northern Ireland, so the UK as a whole. It's the same with brands as well. So the same system. And normally they would do that for patents via either PCT from their home country, or they would do it in terms of brands through the Madrid protocol. That's normally the way. So they would extend it into the UK and designate the UK as a territory of interest for their brands.
Interesting.
Yeah, so those are the two main routes to, I suppose, international IP protection: is the PCT for patents and the Madrid protocol for brands and trademarks.
Right. Could we pause it for 1 second?
Sure.
Pause the video. 1 second. You ready? Okay, good. I realize from your background that you assist with international licensing and sponsorships agreements. Is the COVID-19 situation having a budgetary impact in these areas in specific?
So there is a noticeable decline in that area. So as I said before, that the main areas where I've seen a rise in IP work is anti-counterfeiting online, and also businesses using R&D to claim tax relief. So in the UK we have Patent Box, and R&D tax credits. So you can use your R&D to get tax relief for on corporation tax for your company. So I've seen a rise in those two areas. In terms of sponsorship, that has had an impact in terms of the practicalities of people actually agreeing these deals at the moment, in my view. In terms of budgetary restrictions, then obviously, yes, businesses are being a bit more careful about collaborations at the moment. So I think that will obviously in due course increase again. But at the moment, the two activities that are increasing are R&D, tax relief, and which is an EU scheme, but it's administered here in the UK by HMRC, and that's likely to continue following Brexit as well. So those are the two main areas I've seen a noticeable increase in during the coronavirus pandemic.
Are you involved in any licensing that are coming together between universities or R&D companies, corporations regarding COVID-19?
Not specifically regarding COVID-19, but we do work with universities and inventors that have spin-outs from universities are developing products or processes that have patents or IP involved. So not specifically in terms of the I suppose the COVID-19, but I suppose connected in a way to it in terms of some of the inventions are in the healthcare or medical space.
Have you seen better international collaboration, both local and international, during this COVID-19 situation?
I think so, particularly from the entrepreneur community. A lot has been going on cross borders internationally, with a lot of competitions being announced with entrepreneurs building PPE equipment to ventilators. Even my old school designed some CAD drawings for the face visors that you get, and release the CAD drawings for those. So I've seen a lot more collaborations going on with in the communities and internationally as well. Yes.
Being in the industry for a long time and advising clients, various technologies, what would you say, if you had 30 seconds or less, how would you express to patent professionals around the world what they should expect from the industry moving forward?
That's a very good question. Yitz. So I think in terms of what they should expect, I think there's always going to be a need for innovation and technology. It's always advancing, but I think in my predictions for this year, I said that healthcare, alongside other things like fintech and also ed tech, are going to be growing demands for those in those sectors. So I think there's always going to be room for new technologies, particularly as this pandemic has illustrated. We don't have a vaccine for it, so there's always going to be innovations and entrepreneurs looking for a solution to something like this. But I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be more going on in the future in these areas. If we have more health scares and pandemics, then there's always going to be a need for development in this area.
During a pandemic, certain things tend to open up. Entrepreneurs around the world, innovators around the world, may be looking into other opportunities around the world. What would you say to them regarding Scotland in particular? What would you say the opportunities may bring from this pandemic?
So in terms of Scotland, Scotland is a big hub of entrepreneurial talent there. I'm a mentor on one of the accelerator schemes here in Edinburgh. And there are a lot of new businesses coming through that are very innovative. They're world leaders. We had Skyscanner, that was from originally from Edinburgh, its headquarters. So there's a lot of big businesses that start out very small, and they grow into international enterprises. So I think there's a great entrepreneurial community here in Scotland, and I would encourage any business that's not in Scotland to have a place here and come and start a business in Scotland.
Oliver, being a partner, me being pretty new in the industry, you seem very approachable and eager to help. What would you say to people around the world that may be watching? How can they approach you and potentially do business, and how would they be able to connect with you?
So at Tidman Legal, the firm I'm the managing director of, we are very open to discussing people's ideas and innovations. We offer initially a free consultation chat, and then if you want to take it further, then we normally sit down and have an initial meeting, or we can do it via video link right now. And in terms of how we can help, it's all about protecting and commercializing your brands and your innovations and your designs. As I say to the clients, there's no point protecting your innovations or your brands unless you intend to commercialize them. I think a lot of people think that it's great to have a patent and they want it just frame, put on the wall, but really the whole purpose of having a patent is to commercialize it and develop it further, and that's why you're getting a monopoly to do that. So I think it's worth thinking about the commercial strategy 5-10 years down the line, if you are looking to go down that route of getting a patent.
Thank you so much, Oliver. It was really a pleasure and a privilege. This was actually the second time you spoke, which was nice. It keeps getting better. And I hope you stay safe, healthy, and this pandemic ends soon.
Likewise, Yitz. Pleasure to talking to you. Thanks very much.
Okay, what do you think?